And welcome to today's video. If it's your first time here, then my name is Grace and you've probably clicked on this video if you're maybe a mummy to be or if you just like pregnancy Q&As. I have got a 13-month-old little boy called Elliot and I am currently pregnant with baby number 2. So I'm going to be having 2 children under 2 very, very soon. As I film this, I'm 33, almost 34 weeks pregnant. So literally within a matter of weeks, I'm going to be a mum of 2. And I asked on Instagram a few weeks ago now, actually. It's taken me ages to get around to finally filming this. I've really lost my mojo with filming at the minute, but hoping to get back into it. Not sure how that's going to work with 2 kids, but we'll see. Yeah, I'm doing a pregnancy Q&A. I'm going to be answering all of the most asked questions that I've had this pregnancy. It's going to be some things that people ask me on Instagram. I've had a couple of questions on like some YouTube videos, and also just generally questions that I feel like people ask a lot, not just on Instagram, but like what I've been asked a lot in real life as well. So without any more hesitation, let's get into some of the questions and I'm going to answer them for you. I think that the most obvious question that people ask a pregnant lady, or you know, like my husband gets asked this quite a lot, is are we going to be finding out the gender? If you're new around here and you don't already know, then we are not finding out. We haven't found out the gender of this baby. Our son Elliot was also a surprise. I think nowadays it's just the kind of done thing to find out what you're having, and for me, like, I think I've spoken about this a few times on my channel, but finding out what we're having at the birth makes it makes it so much more special for me. It just adds to the birth experience, and it was so magical finding out that Elliot was a boy, like my husband saying it's a boy and him being like really emotional about it. And yeah, it just gives me goosebumps every time I think about that, the moment that the midwife lifted him up and Oliver said it's a boy. And it doesn't matter to us either way what we're having, as long as it's healthy, it's got everything it's meant to have. I'm not fussed at all about the gender. So the main reason for me not wanting to find out is because it's such a magical part of the birth experience, and I just like not knowing. Like, it's quite, like, I'm the most impatient person as well, so I'm surprised that I can do this. Like, not know for the whole pregnancy what we're having, and I quite like the fact that like all of our like little newborn baby clothes are sort of quite neutral and white. We've got some whites and yellows, lots of like really tiny baby stuff. Obviously if it's a little boy, got loads of boys clothes ready to go. If it's a girl, I'm sure everyone's going to go nuts in the family and friends buying us things. But yeah, it really, as long as it's healthy, that's the main thing. And I quite like not knowing. Everyone finds out nowadays, so it's really special to find out at the end, when they're born, when they're here. Alongside that question, when we tell people we're not finding out, the second most asked question that we tend to get is, what are you hoping for? Like, what do you want? And as I just explained a minute ago, we're not hoping for anything. We're hoping for a happy, healthy baby. But this is a very frequently asked, like, the minute you tell people you're not finding out, they're like, well, what are you hoping for? Like, and they're like, oh, would you know, one of each would be so nice. And it's like, it really, to be honest, it doesn't. I just feel so blessed that we're having another baby. Whatever the gender is, it's still going to be a blessing that we've got another baby as part of our family. We just want another happy, healthy baby, whether it's a boy or girl. So another fairly frequently asked question, which I'm quite surprised at, because I do find it slightly a personal question. Luckily, I don't mind at all. But a lot of the time we have also been, because this baby is going to be really close in age to Elliot. I actually fell pregnant when Elliot was only 6 months old. A lot of people ask, was this planned, this pregnancy? And the answer to that question is yes, it was definitely planned. We didn't expect it to happen as quickly as it did, but we made the active decision to start trying for another baby. So you can't say it wasn't planned, but I was genuinely very surprised when I found out that I was pregnant. I'll leave the video at the top of the screen here, finding out when I was pregnant, because at the time it was when the virus was getting bad again, and some of the symptoms that I was having, they were also COVID symptoms like fatigue, headache, nausea, and I was just convinced I wasn't pregnant. So I thought I had caught COVID because it was starting to spread again at that time, just before Christmas. So we took a COVID test and a pregnancy test. The COVID test was negative and the pregnancy test was positive. I was really, because I was actually still breastfeeding as well at the time. I've spoken about this all before, so sorry if I'm repeating myself if this isn't news to you. But yeah, it was planned, but it was still a surprise that it happened. Like it happened very quickly for us, which again, I don't know, I'm just trying to be sensitive about it because I know some people can really struggle to have a family, and that's why I was genuinely so surprised that I was breastfeeding and that I'd got pregnant as quickly as we did. But yes, baby number 2 was planned. It was still a shock that it happened literally, I think it happened a month after we started trying, which I can't even believe is possible, really. I was obviously extremely fertile, and it makes me think that this baby is most certainly meant to be, just because it happened at the speed that it did. So yes, it was planned. I'll let you know in a few months what it's like having, if this baby arrives when it's due, which is at the start of August, my son Elliot will be around 15 months. So that is a very short age gap, I know. So I know it's going to come with its challenges in the early days, but I think in the long run it's really going to be worth it, and we'll have got all that like young baby stuff out the way, and they will literally just grow up, because they're going to be so close in age, they're just going to grow up like together. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to that aspect of it, the fact that they'll grow up close in age and all that sort of thing. But every now and then I do catch myself thinking, oh my god, how are we going to do this? But yeah, it's going to be an experience, but I'm so excited and I'm ready for it now. So yes, it was planned. And another question that we get asked fairly frequently is, have we got any chosen names? And have we got like a chosen name, because obviously we're not finding out, like, have we got chosen names for our specific gender? And yes, we have got our names picked out. They are going to be a secret until the baby is here. Yeah, we've had our names picked out for a little while now, I would say. Probably sooner than we did with Elliot, I think, as well. I'm not sure. We found boys' names quite difficult with Elliot, but this time around we actually picked a boy's name quite quickly. It was the girl's name that we always and ah about, which is ironic really, because we agonised over a girl's name with Elliot and then we didn't even need to use it, so it'd be funny if that happens again. So Orla, who is another fellow YouTuber, I speak to her quite a lot on Instagram. Check her out, I'll leave her account down below. She asks a lot of lovely questions for me to answer in this pregnancy Q&A, and one of the questions that she asked was what are the similarities and differences between the 2 pregnancies that I've had, which I thought was a really nice question. I thought that was really good. So the similarities that I've had, I would say they have been very similar really, most of all. I think my body just seems to cope really well with pregnancy, which again I feel really thankful that I'm able to say that. In the early days I had the typical nausea, but I've never been sick in a pregnancy. I wasn't sick with Elliot, like physically sick, or I wasn't sick with this pregnancy, so that's obviously a big similarity. I think I was more exhausted during this pregnancy, like in the first trimester especially, because I was still breastfeeding. It was like completely different having a baby already and being like pregnant in your first trimester. For me, the first trimester is always the roughest. So the similarity that I had there was only the fact that I wasn't ever physically sick. I just had the nauseous feeling. I was also worse in the evenings in both my pregnancies, so that was very similar. I think my body was doing a lot more this time around because I was still breastfeeding and I was pregnant, so I was like very, very tired. So I think I would say I was more exhausted in this pregnancy. Overall, like throughout my first, second, and now I'm in my 3rd trimester, a lot of it has been pretty much the same. Like I say, I'm very lucky. I don't even like to say it, so I've got a few weeks left, but I don't really get too many aches or pains throughout pregnancy. My body just seems to cope really well with it, which I'm really thankful for, obviously, because it just makes the whole experience a lot more enjoyable. I would say the only difference in this pregnancy, like the biggest difference I would say, is that this baby has been a very active baby, and because it's my second pregnancy, I noticed the movements like really early on. I think it was like about 16 weeks, I think I felt the little tiny flutters, whereas with Elliot it took ages for me to feel anything. And also now that the baby, once the baby was actually bigger, it's been a lot more active. He didn't really move around very much at all, Elliot, whereas this baby constantly, like all day long, I can feel it. I don't know if that's to do with if my placenta's in a different place or if this baby is just a more actively moving baby. But yeah, there was the only time that Elliot really like moved around a lot was like in the evenings, like late evenings when I was sitting down on the sofa. Like that's what I remember from his pregnancy. But this baby, like all day long, I'm aware of like little movements and like little shoves, and it's just a lot more of an active baby. Actually, yeah, the other difference I would say is that my bump is completely different in shape this time, which is on the screen here. I was looking at them the other day actually. My 33-week bump with Elliot compared to my 33-week bump this time around. So the shape of me is totally different this time. So I'm interested to see if that means anything, if it means I am maybe having a girl or if I just completely carrying different this time around. It was really high up and he was like a perfect kind of ball shape. I just remember like whenever I touched my bump, it was so like high and round with Elliot. Whereas this time around, I seem to be like quite lower down and it's more just sort of more lower and not as round, so that's obviously a difference. But yeah, I'm interested to see what that means, if it means anything or if it's just an old wives' tale. So yeah, they're the main similarities and differences with the pregnancies. The question that Orla asked was, what was the highlight of this pregnancy for me? And I would definitely say the highlight of this pregnancy has been watching Elliot cuddle up to my bump. Like if I lift my t-shirt up and I show him, I say the baby's in here, and he'll like come over and he cuddles up to the bump, and it is adorable. It's really, really cute. I don't know if that's just like an instinctive thing, or if I say like my belly button's like really protruding and he points and he pokes my belly button. So watching him interact with the bump has been really, really lovely, and obviously it's something that I didn't experience with Elliot. So I think that's probably been the highlight this time around, which is just, I love that. And yeah, hopefully he'll be as sweet and lovely once the baby's here. Question that I have been asked is, have I experienced any TMI symptoms with this pregnancy? And going back to what I said a second ago, I just feel really fortunate that I don't really have, like, my body seems to cope quite well with pregnancies. I haven't really had any TMI symptoms, although I did find, like, with my last pregnancy, they do all occur like right at the end, like right before birth occurs. Obviously like just more fluid like coming out of me and stuff, but I haven't obviously had that yet because I'm not quite at that stage. But I wouldn't really say that's TMI, because that is literally just a part of being pregnant at the end. But I haven't really had any like TMI symptoms, to be honest. No, I wouldn't say so. Then another question that we have been asked is, will we be having any more children? It's very hard to say, but I would say probably not. That is my initial answer at the moment, and just because I think that 2 under 2 is going to be quite a challenge. Also for the fact that our house, this is probably like 2 children is the maximum that our house would be comfortable. Like if there was more than 2 in this house, although we've just had like the playroom done, which I'm in now, bedroom wise it would be a squeeze. We also only have 1 bathroom, so if we started extending it anymore, it would be a little bit more of a squeeze, and I don't want to move. This is like probably our forever home, but at the same time, like I'm also like the kind of like, now I thought I would only have 1 child, and now that I'm like we're literally having another one, like sometimes I do feel like saying, well, I never say never, but probably not is the most sensible answer. But you just never know, do you? Probably not. my husband says 2, so we'll probably go with 2. And then the final question, I'm going to wrap it up because it's getting quite long now, this video. I know that I wanted it to make it a chatty one, but the last question is, will the babies be room sharing? We get asked this quite a lot, and I'm not really sure at the moment. If it's 2 boys, then I'm thinking that they will room share because, again, my husband thinks it'd be quite cute if they had like bunk beds when they're older. And that's another reason why more than 2 children wouldn't really be great, because Elliot's room is a really good size. So if they share, if there's 2 boys, if they share, it would be like perfect for them. But then if they do need to go into their own separate rooms, we do have another bedroom, but it is quite a small one. It's not like a massive house by any means. So I think they might share, but then I'm also quite worried about the fact that Elliot has been an amazing sleeper. We've been really lucky that has slept very well from a young age. So I'm aware of the fact that the next baby probably isn't going to sleep as well as Elliot, and I wouldn't want to put another baby in a room with Elliot and disturb his sleep. So I don't really know how that would work, but at some point they might room share. Obviously, the baby will be with us while they're very young for the first 6 months. So we've got a bit of time to think seriously about what we're going to do. And then again, if it's a girl, I'm not sure. I really don't know. At the moment, it's a bit of a maybe, really. And I'm going to see there's a few factors like whether we have a boy or girl, if they'll room share, if the next baby sleeps well, or if they don't sleep well. I think would probably be easier to put them in like a room of their own so they don't disturb Elliot. I really don't know about that one, actually. That's got a bit of a question mark over it still as well for us. So yeah, not sure about that one. Everything else is pretty much planned and we know what's going on, apart from the fact we don't know what we're having yet. So I think that is everything. I tried to answer as many of the questions that we've been asked on Instagram, and then like also some of these have been like in real life questions. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like motherhood content, I would love it if you would consider subscribing, and there's going to be lots of content about being a mum of 2 under 2 very soon coming up on my channel. Not sure how much time I'm going to have to edit them, but I'm planning on filming as much as I can as I go along, even if I have to like upload them later on as they get older. I'm not sure, just don't know what it's going to be like at all. But yeah, thank you again for watching. Hopefully you found it enjoyable, and I will see you again fairly soon for another video.